Hello, students. This is where I go over the instructions or give you this help video is for like actually running the analysis, setting up your data and running the analysis, stuff like that. I've got a separate video on like how to answer the questions, what the output means. By the time you get to data assignment 3, a lot of you are able to just go through the written thing and get the analysis to run without any trouble. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Open up our data. And this is the kind of the raw data that we have. A couple things to point out here. First of all, in terms of the way we coded or the way this data set is set up, a 1 indicates for the keywords, a 1 indicates that we used keywords in our Twitter campaign that were related to Clash of Clans. There were 3 or 4 different ways they did that. 5 or 6 different ways they did. 2 meant farming keyword, and a 3 means we use some other type of keyword in our Twitter campaign. And then we looked at track people over time as they came in and all that. You see that little, I don't know if you can see that little zoom thing there, but that's where I went through. I'm on my second take here, and that's where I went through and did everything, but forgot to share my screen. If you can imagine somebody could be that foolish. And so this one is the content. And so we should remember that video is 3. So we're going to use that a little bit later. The video is a 3 in the content. Arbitrarily, 1 is a text, 2 is a pic, 3 is video, 4 is a link. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run an analysis of variance, kind of like we did before. General linear model, univariate. We're going to put revenue in as the outcome or dependent variable, and we're going to put gender and keyword in as the 2 independent variables, and then we're going to put, I'm pretty sure I told you to put keyword on the horizontal axis and gender as separate lines. You know, that's the red and the blue lines, and then the as opposed to the keyword is along the x-axis there. And continue. No, add and continue. And okay. And there we go. And I talked about, you know, what to look for in the output. You know, it's significant. Is it significant? Is it not significant? Then the nature of the relationship. If it is significant, you got to tell me the nature of the relationship. And you determine that by looking for analysis of variance, looking at this graph and tell me what's going on. And of course, there's another video for that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, you know, mess around with their data. We're going to recode some stuff. We're going to recode into a different variable. And we're going to recode, first of all, the keyword into a different variable where our goal here, and this is a key to answering kind of question 4, is we want to look at, we just want to compare the Clash of Clans keywords, everything else. And it makes it a little bit easier for you to understand, see the graphs or see the output and understand kind of what it means. Okay, so the output variable we're going to call keyword underscore COC, Clash of Clans, which stands for Clash of Clans. And we're going to designate the old and new values. Now, a 1 is still a 1. Clash of Clans is still Clash of Clans. A 2, which is farming, is still a 2. But the other, we're going to go with 3 and 3 and add, and then we're just going to go with Clash of Clans versus other in terms of the way we run the analysis. Now, if we look at our data, I don't understand why they want to show you the output there because we didn't do anything. All we did was reset up our data. You see a new variable. So we recoded into a new variable. This new variable is called keyword Clash of Clans. We don't need the 2 decimals. I think I told you to reduce that to 0. And then if you look at the data view, you'll see out here on the right, this new keyword Clash of Clans. What are the 3s? Keyword Clash of Clans. So I did something wrong there. I did something wrong last time too. So 1s and 3s. Okay. Transform. Recode in a different variable. Let's see, what do we do there? All right, let's Okay. So what do we do here? So it must be the old and new values. Yeah, 3 is a 2. Okay. A 3. I said 3 is a 2, didn't I? 3 is a 2. It's a good lesson for you children, students, that now we have 1s and 2s, so we've done it right. So we'll go into data view or variable view, and we'll change this to 0. And then we'll go in and put in our labels, our values. So in this new variable, we have the value of 1 equals COC, or keyword COC, I think I told you to say. Add, and the label of the value of 2 is now other. And add, and we now have other, which makes it easier for you to understand stuff as we do the analysis. As we do the analysis. And we're going to do the same thing for content. We're going to recode transform, recode in a different variable, get rid of this stuff, and we're now going to go into content and call it content underscore video. So we're going to compare video kind of to everything else. Giving you there it is. I've given you the answer to question 4. Old and new values. See if I can get it right. I think it'll help maybe if I just remove all this stuff here and start over. So a 4 is now a 2. A 3, I think maybe if I'm, is now a 1. A 2 is still a 2. And a 1 is also a 2. So everything is going to be a 2 except the video content. Remember, video is designated as a 3 in the original data set. Click continue. Okay. And I don't know, go back to the data set, change the decimals to 0, and I'll show you the data first. So you've got this new variable over here, content video, all 2s and 1s. Let's put in our labels for it or our values for it. A 1 means video. Add. And a 2 means other. And, okay. And now we're ready to run some of our regressions. So we're going to go in and we're going to run regression. Because the outcome variable, so the first regression we're going to run is with converted is the outcome variable. Because the outcome variable is a 1 or 0, we wouldn't run a linear regression ordinarily. We'd run this binary logistical logit. If it's not multinomial logit, don't ever let anybody talk into doing multinomial logit. Flashlight is much better than multinomial logit, a lot easier to do. But it doesn't matter. If you do not see binary logistic in your options, and some versions have it, some versions don't. Why IBM has to be that way, I don't know, because the honest truth is everything is in it, and they just take something out when they sell you a student edition or a discount edition or bare bones or whatever they call it. If you need to use, if you don't see this, just use linear. The outcome's going to be the same. Explanation is going to be the same. The numbers might be a little bit different, but it's all going to be the same. So binary logistic, we put in our outcome variable this time as converted. It's important to know what converted means. Converted is 0 for converted means they did not download the game or they downloaded but they never played it. They did not open it and play it. Converted means they opened it, played it at least one time. So they actually played the game that Blizzard is making. So they converted, and then the outcome variable is the outcome variable, the independent variable. Now this is where you can really easily mess up. We're going to use our new keyword class, not the old keyword, but the new keyword Clash of Clans. We're going to use content video. We're going to use gender. It does not matter the order that you put these in, makes absolutely no difference, not revenue, but engagement rate. And then we're going to run this, boom. And here comes our output. And as I told you in the video, look at the last box. They're all of the variables. We don't care about the constant. We don't care about the y-intercept. We don't, the beta zero vector. We don't care about that. But keyword clash of clans significant, content video significant, gender significant, engagement rate significant. You've got to tell me the nature of the relationship, be able to talk about the nature of the relationship, and the help video for answering the questions will help you with that. So then the next analysis we're going to do, we're going to run the same analysis with a different outcome variable. So we're going to run binary logistic, and we're going to just change the outcome variable to premium. It's important to know what premium is. Premium in this particular data set means that they paid money at least one time. They didn't just play the game for free. At some point in the game, they spent some actual cash in order to play this game that you can actually play as long as you want to for free. So you click OK. Everything's the same. On this enter, I actually prefer backward stuff, but it's easier to read the output if you just use enter. So we're still in level 1. This is the first course, so we'll just stay with enter. If anybody ever asks you, send me an email. Like in your career, they actually ask you, send me an email and look at the last box. Look at the output there. You'll notice that there's kind of a little bit of weird finding here. Engagement rate, like engaging with the tweets, it's actually negatively related whether they can be a premium player. And that's one of the kind of bonus questions for you to try to answer in this particular analysis. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to run regression. Now, this next regression, same thing, and we're going to put revenue in as the outcome variable. Now, in this particular case, because revenue is not a yes or a no, a 1 or a 0. You know, yes, they did. Premium was and converted was, but we're just going to run regular linear regression for this one. And we're going to put the revenue in as the dependent variable. Make sure that you're using this keyword, not up here keyword, but this keyword clash of clans, independent variable, content video, independent variable, gender, and engagement rate. Boom. And we click OK. And we get our output. We go to the last box here. And once again, a little bit weird here. This, you would think engagement rate, kind of be positively related to, revenue. Like the more they engage with the Twitter, the more likely they would have, when they began to play the game, they would really get into it and pay money. But that turns out not to be the case. And see if you can come up with some legitimate explanation. Obviously, I don't actually know the answer, but I have my own theory for it. Okay, so now I did not ask you any questions about this analysis. So because of what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you that there are times when we want to look at a subset of the data. So let's go back to our data. And I call this select if. People call it data, select cases, and it's called a select if. Like you're going to use a certain subset of the data. And this, I think, if you listen carefully, this will give you a clue as to kind of what you might want to do for a question 8. Where you have to run 3 of your own analysis, explain what they mean. So the condition that we're going to have here is that we want to look at the people for whom converted equals 1. So remember that converted equals 1 are the people who played the game at least one time. So we're going to take everybody out of the data set that never played the game. And we're only going to look at what happens with the people who actually played the game. And continue. Okay. And you'll see this filter. So the unsophisticated call it a filter, and the people who've been doing this for years and years call it a select if. That's not exactly right. The select if is maybe the SPS user's only way of talking about it, and filter is actually the better. So now one of the things that you're going to notice is the degrees of freedom goes down. For this particular analysis, we're going to run the same analysis that we ran before, regression, linear, and leave all the same variables in. And we're going to click OK. And you'll notice, one of the things you'll notice is that whereas we've kind of had a significant relationship between all the variables so far, now all of a sudden we do get one variable that doesn't seem to matter. Amongst the, if we're only looking at the people who actually played the game, content video is no longer significantly different than the rest of the content types in terms of generated revenue, because this is greater than 0.05. So once we have this, and I told you in the outputs, once you have this, you just say it's not significant. Kind of move on from that. You're going to have to do your own analyses. Hopefully I've given you some clues for this. I think you should be good to go at this point. You're basically ready to answer all the questions except where you have to do your own analyses in question 8. And you can kind of get a B without doing very well on question 8, but the question 8 kind of separates the B's from the A's. So, you know, I've tried to give you some hints along the way. Maybe you could come up, think of some things similar to what we did here. Okay, stop sharing. Stop recording. Good luck. Before I hit stop recording, good luck, everybody. And if something's not working, don't beat your head against the wall. I'll help you. Just let me know and I'll help you. Give you some extra time, let me help you. Stop recording. Stop recording.